I can do this. I can do this. I can get through this. The iconic Ironheart has arrived on Disney Plus, with Disney Plus releasing 3 episodes, no doubt to get that watch time up so they can celebrate some sort of high viewership for this show.
Iconic.
Now, I did watch all 3 episodes, and I am going to give my thoughts on all 3 episodes in their own individual videos, because I do have quite a bit to say about each episode, and I do not want these videos to be super long. Now, this show is about Riri Williams, Ironheart, who is the next quote-unquote Iron Man, and I should just say that nobody can fill Tony Stark's shoes. Not at all.
Tony, how do you go to the bathroom in the suit? Just like that.
Now, this show was endorsed by Ryan Coogler, who said how as a kid he was a big comic fan and really big on the X-Men, X-Factor, and Wolverine. Then, with a straight face, he said, if you can believe it, he actually tries to sell it, that there was a lot of buzz around the industry about Ironheart at the time and how excited he was. He continues and says that Ironheart wasn't meant to be a successor to Tony Stark, that she got her own identity.
Black girl magic.
Iconic.
Yes.
And while he sees it that way, the MCU is thinking differently. They are thinking that they do need the stamp of the man, of Robert Downey Jr., of Tony Stark himself, to give his stamp of approval to Miss Riri Williams. Robert Downey Jr. gives it 2 thumbs up. This is a quote from Dominique Thorne saying, Robert Downey Jr. and I spoke just after we wrapped, and he shared some very lovely words about my journey. He told me how excited he was and that he's rooting for it too. I literally got 2 thumbs up. It's really reassuring to know you're not embarrassing Iron Man.
How come you're not working at, like, I don't know, Stark Industries or something?
And he contributed immensely to the field, so I won't roast Tony Stark over it.
Well, unfortunately, after watching the very first episode of Ironheart, it seems that the writers don't really pay any respect to Iron Man, because some people in the episode can't even remember the guy's name, even though he saved half the universe. Even though they are touting Robert Downey Jr. around and using him to sell people on this show, the show itself pays 0 respect to Tony Stark. This character, unfortunately, doesn't really care about that. She looks at him as a billionaire who had money and resources to be iconic and make his suit. Doesn't really talk about the heroic things that he does. Instead, just talks about how she wants to be iconic. And that's about it. So let's dive into Ironheart episode 1. The beginning of the episode really sets the tone for our character, Riri Williams. Not even 20 seconds in, and she's already saying that she's going to be bigger than Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Tony Stark, and Hank Pym combined. We are 17 seconds into this show, and they're already telling you she's already going to be bigger than all of them. That is how much of a genius Riri Williams is. We're then greeted with a voiceover from Riri Williams herself, who says, I'm here because I can be the greatest inventor of my generation. But then says that the only thing keeping her back is that she doesn't have the resources or the money, which is basically what I would title episode 1 of Ironheart. I need money, or I want money, because that is basically all she talks about the entire episode. And this opening scene of Ironheart kind of proves the lengths that she will go to get the money that she needs in order to be better than Tony Stark, who, by the way, during this nice opening monologue, she throws shade at.
I need cash, money. Do you think Tony Stark would be Tony Stark if he wasn't a billionaire? No shade. That's just the way the world works.
I feel like in this opening monologue, we're already setting the sort of victimhood of this character. She wants to be great. She needs to be great. But see, it's her circumstances don't allow her to reach the potential that she needs to reach in order to be Tony Stark. Tony Stark, the only reason that he was able to achieve anything is because he had millions and millions of dollars at his disposal. Which is funny, considering when Tony Stark made his very first Iron Man suit, he did it
In a cave! With a box of scraps!
He did it under duress. He did it with his life being threatened. He didn't do it to be iconic. So already setting the tone of this episode, making this character out to be a victim. And in order to do that, we have to belittle Tony and bring him down to, no, he didn't save and die and sacrifice his life for half of the universe. He was just a millionaire who was able to make an Iron Man suit because he had millions of dollars and lots of resources. We have to separate him from the heroic things that he did, like, I don't know, die, saving half the universe, and just make him out to be, he's just another rich guy. That's it. We then get a little bit of a montage to show exactly what she's doing in order to get some money for her AI, which is going to cost millions of dollars. She is cheating one person at a time, making money. All of these kids getting credit for this black girl's inventions, talking about how they might get a fellowship, just so she can get money in order to put that towards her AI, which according to her is going to cost millions of dollars. But again, this is just going to this victimhood narrative where this poor girl doesn't have the money, doesn't have resources, so she's forced to work harder for other people and let them take credit for her hard work. She doesn't get any of the accolades, any of the credit, but this is just what she needs to do. She doesn't have the funds, the resources like Tony Stark did. She has to go about things differently. She has to be complicit in cheating. And they actually like play it out to be like something that she's sort of forced to do, as if this wasn't her idea to begin with. It is totally made out in Ironheart that she is a victim of circumstance. No matter how big of a genius she is, she just doesn't have the funds. And because of that, she's always going to be a step behind, so she has to go through other means of making money. Later on, we find out that Riri Williams has been in college for over 4 years and has not yet gotten a degree. She is a genius, but she's just using the university for its resources in order to make her very own Iron Man suit. Now, on top of using the university's resources, we find out that she's not just helping people at MIT cheat, she's actually helping people from other universities cheat as well. And before the university tells her that, hey, we know what you've been doing, Riri Williams tries to tell them that, you know what, you're just making me small. You want me to be small. You are holding me back, when that's not the case at all.
You want me to be small, but I refuse. That's a hot pile of garbage. Trash, and you know it.
Not only does she call her out on this, but she tells her that she has gone above and beyond. The university has gone above and beyond for Riri Williams because she is basically a genius, and they've gone above and beyond for her, but she has remained completely ungrateful for what she has been given. Even tailoring a course of study to her specific needs. And she has just remained ungrateful for everything that the university has provided for her. And due to her cheating and providing all of these projects across all these different schools, she has been expelled. And look at the face that she is making right here when she finds out that they're expelling her, as if she's shocked that this would happen to her. But it's not her fault. This university has gone above and beyond, trying to give her what she needs, trying to tailor her academics in order to make her successful. This one individual speaking to her in this meeting has said that she has tried and tried and tried with her. But it's not Riri Williams' fault. She just needed money for her Iron Man suit. So Riri Williams has been expelled. And what is the final thing that she does at this university? She steals. This is our hero. The university that has given her every single opportunity and provided her with all of the resources to become great and iconic. As a thank you to this university, she steals from them. What's funny is that you hear someone said, why are you guys doing this to Riri? As if she didn't do this to herself. These are the consequences of her actions and her decisions. Nobody is doing this to her. She has done this to herself, and these are the consequences of her actions. And then they say that we're just here to make sure she doesn't take anything that is not hers. Riri Williams says, I would never, while stomping towards them in her Iron Man suit. And to make it seem as if she's not stealing, this student says this.
She built that with her own grant money.
She built that with her own grant money. Even though she built it with her own grant money that she asked for, the university still owns that Iron Man suit. Which is why when she flies off after she steals this armor, this happens. Access denied, student expelled. Which I suppose goes along with the comics. Instead of her stealing like Tony Stark's armor from Stark Industries, she just steals it from the university. We are then introduced to these colorful characters, and they are on a job. And unfortunately, one of their teammates is sort of botching the job. This guy's name is Stuart.
It's Rampage. Not Stu. It's not Stuart. Rampage.
Oh, sorry, Rampage. Everybody has a code name, and his code name wants to be Rampage, but nobody wants to call him Rampage. Yes, this is the conversation that happens within this show. But right off the bat, they are introduced as criminals. These aren't people fighting for the greater good. They are criminals who just want money. Anyways, these guys are on a job. They botched the job because of Stu or Rampage, and now they need a replacement. And can you guess who their replacement is going to be? You don't think a hero would want to be working with these bad guys, but they inevitably do. Next, we see a major character within this show who's going to have a lot of influence. Hood! There he is in all of his hood glory. I did laugh when I saw this. I was just like, what the heck? He's just wearing it out in the open in the middle of the day? Sure. It just looks really funny to me. It looks kind of ridiculous. I don't know. It just made me laugh when I saw him out in the open wearing this hood.
This software. We need hardware for this one.
I know the perfect person for this job.
Well, we're gonna fuck someone in the next couple days. And we still got ton of big job.
What a coincidence. Where are we going to find someone in the next couple of days? And Riri Williams just happens to fly past them in her Iron Man armor. I'm telling you, the writers on the show, mwah, geniuses, just like Riri Williams. Next, they show us the neighborhood that Riri Williams grew up in. And we do have to make sure that we show that a lot of these businesses are Black-owned businesses. And we have to show Riri Williams getting harassed on the street because, of course, every woman gets, harassed and catcalled on the street, even when you're wearing a suit of armor. And they proceed to call her Iron Ma. And this little boy helps her carry her Iron Man suit out of the goodness of his heart because she's attracting attention. So he puts her suit in his little wagon and he's escorting her home.
What does your mama call you? Riri Williams. Bad girl genius.
Someone wrote that. Someone thought that was really clever. Someone was paid to write that line in a Marvel movie with seriousness. It's like it wasn't even played as a joke. This was serious writing. She is introducing herself.
Riri Williams. Bad girl genius.
Yep, the MCU is back, everyone.
That is terrible. That's your introduction? What else are you doing? I want you to take it $20. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we find out this kid actually didn't do it out of the goodness of his heart. He actually charges her $20.
A lot of kids act out for years after a traumatic event.
So now we're introduced to Riri's mom, and the first thing that we hear is a lot of kids act out like this after a traumatic event, essentially trying to tell the audience that Riri is just a kid. She doesn't know any better. But chronologically within the MCU, she's not a child. She is 19 years old. And in this show, she even said that she's grown. She knows that she's grown. Not only is she 19, but she's a 19-year-old genius. We've been told many, many, many times that she is a genius. So she is not a child. She's not a kid. She's 19. She knows better. But for whatever reason, the show wants you to think that she is just a kid, possibly to explain away all of the bad decisions that she makes throughout the first 3 episodes of this show.
But Riri's always been like this, though.
Riri Williams does come up to the door. She's listening through the door. And this is just plain exposition for the audience to understand that something has happened in Riri Williams' past. And is this why she continues to act out? This is just exposition for the audience to set it up that there's something wrong with Riri. She doesn't make all of these decisions on her own. It could just be tied to the trauma of her past. Again, just completely taking away all accountability from this character.
Why do you insist on building your own death trap?
Because I can.
Stop stunting her genius. So Riri's mom tells her that she bribed a janitor at school to keep her in the loop on things that are happening with her daughter. And so this janitor called her mom, told her that she was expelled. So her mom already knew that she was expelled. So they're starting to get into that conversation of why was she expelled from school? Why did all of this happen when this character shows up?
Hey, black people.
And truth be told, I know that this character's name is Xavier, but I have no idea who he is. And that's after watching 3 episodes. I know he's the love interest, but I don't know exactly how Riri knows him. So at least that's how they've set him up. He's kind of like her love interest, but he's also her friend. So anyway, she goes out with Xavier and he asks her about the Iron Man suit. And this is what she tells him.
People are obsessed with them. I could build 1,000 other things, and no one would care. But if I could build one of them,
better than everyone else. People got no choice but to respect me.
So before, when she was in that meeting, she said, these Iron Man suits can be used for good.
If I could just get my idea off the ground, help would never be too late. This could change the world.
But no, in fact, she's just doing it so that people will respect her, and she wants to be the best at building these Iron Man suits because people are obsessed with them. So her building an Iron Man suit and being the best at it will give her some notoriety. It's a very selfish trait, which is interesting because I don't feel like we're building a hero story here. It feels like we're building a villain story.
I need a job that pays. A lab so massive they don't notice if I finesse a resource here or there.
She needs a lab with resources. People won't wonder where the funding is coming from. Again, this really does not sound like a hero story. This sounds like the makings of a villain. So he takes her over to this mural, and it's a mural of her stepdad and her best friend. And we know something bad has happened, but we don't know exactly what it is.
Barracuda. Whatever happened to it?
I don't have it anymore. I sold it for money.
So he's talking to her and he's reminiscing about this car that meant so much to her dad, and she ended up selling that car for money for her suit. So the next day, her and Xavier go to the scrapyard and she's looking for parts to buy her suit. She's shopping for these parts, but she doesn't have the money to pay for these parts. So she's hoping that the shop owner, after he completely just fawns all over her and tries to remind the audience of what a genius Riri Williams is, she's going to ask him for some type of a deal, or possibly if she could pay him later. One of the members of that bad group that we saw earlier helps her out.
Tony Stark Fellowship at that MIT school.
Yeah, that was such a blessing.
This one right here, a couple years ago, could not open the local section of the trip and not see a story on her.
Yep, another character just letting us know how incredible Riri Williams is. And we don't just get told, we get shown with these newspaper clippings.
Finished 9th grade at age 11, started college at 15, and here she is.
I mean, obviously, if the show tells us that she's fantastic, that she's fabulous, that she's a genius, we need to believe that she is. Everybody's telling us that she is. However, her actions throughout the show speak differently.
How come you're not working at, Stark Industries or something? And you're at least as smart as that Tony guy, right?
And he contributed immensely to the field, so I won't roast Tony Stark off rip.
Whoa. You're at least as smart as that Tony guy, right? They're really belittling Tony Stark, relegating him to just being the owner of Stark Industries and a billionaire. Like, that's it. It's not that he snapped everyone back into the universe, defeating Thanos and essentially saving the lives of countless amounts of people, dying in the process. No, he's just that Tony guy. And Riri Williams just said he contributed immensely to the field. This is Marvel trash. It's basically, you need her to be better than Tony Stark. So let's diminish the character of Tony Stark. It's another classic story of we need to make our Riri Williams, the new Iron Man, we need to make them better than Tony Stark. How on earth do you do that? Tony Stark is one of the most respected characters in Marvel, in the MCU. It's interesting that they would do that with this character. Let's just belittle this character because we need Riri Williams to be way better than Tony Stark. So we're not going to mention any of his contributions. We're not going to mention the fact that he saved half of the entire universe. Nope. He's just a billionaire who's in charge of Stark Industries, and that's about it. That's it. He contributed immensely to the field. That's it. This line is wild. I don't know how people would watch past this line because it's so disrespectful to Tony Stark that your next Iron Man, like that's how you see him. That is how Ironheart views Iron Man, as competition, as someone that she needs to be better than. Not because she wants to be a hero. Nope, she just wants to be better than them. She just wants to be more iconic, more known, more infamous. Well, sorry, the only way you're going to do that is if you save half the universe while sacrificing your life. And I don't think that that's something that you're going to be willing to do, considering this character is so incredibly selfish. But let's continue. This character, John, offers her a job, a chance to make some money, some real money.
No pressure.
So remember, Riri Williams is a victim of circumstance. She doesn't have the money, the resources like Tony Stark did. She's not a bad person. She just needs to commit some crime to get some things done. But it's not her fault. She's the victim here. Anyway, she goes to this pizza place. She goes and meets the crew that John was telling her about.
Riri, I see you.
I see you fed up with mediocre folks taking your spot, mediocre institutions rejecting your genius. Soon enough, you're gonna get tired of making yourself so small to fit inside those awkward boxes they put you in.
So he's really feeding into her ego here. You're fed up. People don't accept your genius. Riri Williams sees herself as much bigger, a bigger deal than anybody else. And he's really feeding into that right now in order to make her a part of his crew. And while she rejects him at first, making the correct decision to not join a band of criminals to get what you need, he just shows her a pile of money and she accepts.
Consider this a signing bonus.
Asking these jobs aren't exactly legal.
Not exactly. Theft, extortion, breaking and entering.
Theft, extortion, breaking and entering. This is what she is agreeing to. So rather than do the right thing, work hard, and earn that money legally, Riri Williams decides to take the shortcut. She's going to join this group of criminals, take a shortcut, take the easy money in order to achieve her goals. Well done, Marvel. What a great superhero young girls can look up to. And what a great lesson as well. You don't have to work hard for the things that you need to do. Just take the shortcut. Do the illegal thing. No problem. Everything will work out. Now, they tell her that she needs her Iron Man suit ready the next day because that's when this plan is going to happen. So she goes home, starts work on her Iron Man suit, and she starts listening to this mixtape that Xavier gave her earlier. While listening to this mixtape, that's when you find out, that's when we get the flashback of what exactly happened to her stepdad and her best friend. And while they didn't show us quite everything just yet, we do see that her stepdad and her best friend were killed, gunned down in a drive-by shooting. And all of this happened in front of Riri Williams. She was the only one that survived out of the three of them. So her mom kind of interrupts this flashback that she's having because she hears her crying.
It sounded like you were crying. Why don't you go clean up the shop? Gary's? You went by there? He hate the state you have it in. Baby, I didn't even know you cared.
Why would her mom think that she cared about the garage? She sold her stepdad's car for money, for her Iron Man suit.
So now it's my fault that you let Gary's dream die.
Oh my gosh. What is happening? This is the problem with the writing in the show. In one scene, you get this nice story about her stepfather, Gary, was obsessed with this car and so many good memories. And Riri's just like, I sold it for money. So she comes across as if she really doesn't care. And then in this scene, she's going overboard with how the shop looks and telling her mom that she let her stepdad's dream die. The writing in the show is just all over the place. Now, at this time, Riri is working on her AI for her Iron Man suit, and she's using brain mapping in order to bring her AI to life. I'm just guessing that's what's happening here. The only thing that we find out is that she needs a lot of money to get a really good AI done, but it seems like she's doing it here, like with no problem. So anyways, she ends up falling asleep and the AI takes the form of her best friend.
Natalie? Well, who the hell else would it be, bitch?
And she ends up passing out. That's her AI, her best friend. A fully functional holographic AI of her best friend that came out of her brain mapping. She went from a really generic AI at the very beginning to this full holographic AI of her best friend who looks and speaks like her best friend. Will that be answered in episode 2? I don't know. You're gonna have to come back and find out because I will have that review up really, really soon. But so far, this first episode of Ironheart is terrible. Like I said, it doesn't feel like it's setting up a hero story. It feels like it's setting up a villain. So far, the traits of Riri Williams is that she's impatient. She is money hungry. She is a victim. She also sees herself as someone who is bigger, smarter, more talented than Jobs, Gates, Stark, and Pym.
Bigger than Jobs. Right. Bigger than Gates. Right. Bigger than Pym. Right. Bigger than Stark. Yeah, come on.
Without really wanting to put in the work for it though, because she wants the shortcut. She doesn't want to work for it. She just wants to take the easy way out. And in order to do that, she has to join a gang of criminals. This is Ironheart, episode 1. Yep, it's a show on Disney+. But you know what? Robert Downey Jr., he let us know.
Ironheart premieres today. It's all been leading to this. Isn't that exciting? 17 years from the birth of the MCU to the premiere of Ironheart, and we're in this love together.
17 years of Marvel have led to this, to Ironheart, to Riri Williams. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. Let me know what you all think in those comments down below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.